Hi everyone. In this video I'll be talking about grounding and how to ground yourself. I've been asked by some of you to make a video on the subject, and I was also thinking about it for a very long time, so I thought it was the right moment to do one. And also I was inspired to create a guided meditation for grounding and how to ground with the help of a tree. And you will find the meditation in the link in the description box below. And if you try it, just please let me know how you feel afterwards and what the effects you get from it. So I will also be talking about 6 ways that you can use to ground yourself and why grounding is so important. So why is it so important to be grounded? Well, when we are on a spiritual journey, we tend to really have the desire to evolve spiritually and to ascend spiritually and to go to higher realms on a spiritual level. But we often forget that to evolve and ascend spiritually, we must first ground ourselves and be completely integrated into our bodies. Because we cannot ascend and we cannot evolve spiritually if we are not completely grounded. So I've been speaking about this in some of my videos. It's true that in the spiritual community we can see a lot of people who are not grounded at all. They hover above the ground, they are in the ethers, and they cannot create or build anything in their lives because they lack grounding. So it is really essential to be grounded, and for me it's really like the cornerstone of a spiritual practice is to actually be grounded. So why is it that we tend to be ungrounded? Well, first of all, we live in a world that is sometimes difficult, heavy and dense, and it is normal that sometimes we feel like we want to dissociate from this world and we want to escape. And the problem is when we do that, and sometimes we also use spiritual practices to do that, and that's called spiritual bypassing. When we do that, we dissociate completely from our bodies. And this we have learned in early childhood, because when we are children, when we are small children, the world we come into is sometimes so difficult to bear that we have this survival mechanism that comes into place, and we learn how to dissociate from ourselves and from our bodies. And the problem is that when we arrive in adulthood, it continues, and we sometimes feel that we are completely dissociated from ourselves. And I will be talking about this more in depth in a video where I'll talk about the inner child and how to heal the inner child, and about traumas and dissociation, etc. And it's coming soon, that video. And so this is the problem. So we really have to learn as spiritual beings to be fully integrated into our bodies. And if we are souls that we already have problems with the incarnation, so maybe we have also past life traumas or anything like that, then it's even more difficult for us to really accept and be fully integrated into our body. Our body is our temple. It's the temple for our soul. So we should really stop denying our body and start honoring it and seeing it really as a part of the divine and really essential for our spiritual journey and for our incarnation. So what are the signs that we have when we are ungrounded? Well, first of all, we have a trouble concentrating. So we really have a trouble to focus and be fully present in what we do. So for example, we'll have difficulties to follow a conversation. We have moments of absence, we daydream a lot, we are always in our heads, always kind of escaping what is happening in the present moment. Typically we will also always forget things or lose things, or we'll have a hard time to follow our schedule and organize ourselves. And also we can feel, for the people who really feel all the time on edge emotionally, that's also a sign that they are not grounded enough. So there are obviously a lot of ways to ground yourself. I have chosen 6 ways that, for me personally, are the most effective to ground yourself. So the first way to ground yourself, and it's my personal favorite, it's really grounding yourself through the contact with nature. So it might be just walking in nature and focusing, for example, on our feet and our steps, and really feeling like the contact with the earth every time we make a step. And of course, if the weather allows it, we can also walk barefoot, so on a kind of path, but also in the grass, so that really helps to ground, and it also helps to really receive all the earth energies that we are going to really absorb from the feet and that are going to move up our legs. And for me, the most effective one is to find a tree and sit and meditate at its feet. So it can be any tree, maybe a tree that has apparent roots and you can sit on its roots. And just the fact to like meditate and breathe with the tree, and you can find that in the meditation I created, by the way, it will really help you to actually merge your energy with the tree and kind of mimic the energy of the tree, and it will really help you to ground. And I'd like to say a word about tree therapy. So of course it's very beneficial, so you know, it's a big trend, people who hug trees and come in contact with trees. So that's really beneficial, but the only thing is that I've seen that a lot of people use trees to actually unload their negative emotional and energetic garbage, let's say. And for example, they do that in, you know, sacred places where you have tall trees that are guardians, and because there is a lot of passage and a lot of people coming and they all do that, I've seen sometimes trees die. So we should really see the exchange of energy with a tree as in a balanced way. So it's really an exchange, and we can of course use a tree to meditate and to ground ourselves, but we should not use a tree as a dump. So of course meditation is an awesome tool, and I always advise people to have a daily meditation practice. But sometimes meditation can also prevent us from grounding fully into our bodies. So what happens is that for those of us who already have a tendency to have our head in the clouds, and we tend to escape easily and to just, you know, leave the present moment, when we meditate, sometimes we are so fully into the meditation that we will leave and we will go to explore other dimensions in the astral and see many things and discover many things, and then when we come back we feel kind of off-center and we feel as if we are still like in the clouds. So that's a sign that we're not fully back into our bodies. So if you feel that when you meditate, a good idea for you would be to meditate with your eyes open, so you can focus, for example, on a specific point, and of course continue focusing on the breath, and focusing, for example, on the flame of a candle. Or you can also, so in the Kundalini yoga meditations, often we focus on the tip of the nose and we have the eyes half closed. So this is really beneficial if you really want to have all the benefits of the meditation but still be really fully present in the physical and present to your body. And when the meditation is over, what you can do is actually lift yourself slightly a couple of inches from the ground and just let yourself fall down back again like this. And you can do this a couple of times, and what will it do? It will activate the sacrum. And so the sacrum that connects you with the ground and with grounding, and it will also activate the Kundalini. So a very pleasant technique that we can use for grounding is massage. And massage has many benefits for our body and our spirits as well. But the only condition is that we stay fully present to our bodies during the session. So first of all, we stay present with our breath, and we can really focus our awareness on the hands of the masseur during the massage and feel the sensation and the contact with the skin, with the body, and really start feeling every part of our bodies in that way, and you'll see that it's going to be really beneficial for grounding. And the two massages that I recommend specifically for grounding would be foot massage, like reflexology, and also the Chinese belly massage called Qi Nei Tsang. And that one is really good to actually release this whole abdomen area, and what it does is it releases all the energies to the lower parts of our body, so the lower chakras and our legs, and it really releases and helps to open up the hara. So the hara is this famous energy center that we talk about often in martial arts, which is really essential for grounding, and after you get a massage like that, you really feel that your feet are very well grounded. Food is also a great way for grounding. So of course fasting has many health benefits. It's really great to do fasting, but I wouldn't recommend to do long-term fasting for people who already have a very hard time grounding. So intermittent fasting is okay, but not long-term fasting. And the reason is because when we fast, we kind of feel very light in our body, and we feel like our feet are a bit like taking off the ground, and so for grounding it's not the best idea. And there are a lot of different foods that you can use for grounding actually. And also I wanted to talk about all this the breatharian movement and people who are breatharians. Breatharianism requires really a very let's say strict spiritual discipline, I think, because you must really be centered and grounded to be a breatharian, so it's not for everyone. And so, as I said, there are really foods that are going to help us to ground. So of course there is animal protein, but I know that a lot of people out there are now vegetarian or vegan, and I wouldn't necessarily advise people to go back to meat to ground, unless, as I always say, your body asks for it. For example, I'm a vegetarian with vegan tendencies, but sometimes I go through periods where I feel that I really need grounding and my body asks for meat. So I will eat, for example, some poultry sometimes. But otherwise you can find other foods that are very grounding, like for example all the foods that grow underneath the ground, like roots. So you have potatoes, you have carrots, beets, ginger, cassava, what else? Jerusalem artichokes, radishes. So all these foods are very beneficial for grounding, and so you can really eat a lot of them if you need a lot of grounding. And I would also recommend to eat them cooked, so preferably steamed, because it actually adds some density to the food and will help with grounding. And plants in general also offer us great ways to ground ourselves, great properties to ground ourselves. And I think the best of the best, so you can use these plants under, you know, like essential oils, for example, and the best of the best is the Himalayan nard. So just one drop on your feet, on the sole of your feet, and I can assure you that it's very efficient. The only thing is that it has a very strong smell, so you might like it or not, but you can try it. And if you really don't like it, then you can also use essential oils that come from trees. So for example, the Atlas cedar tree essential oil that you can add in some vegetable oil and massage your legs and your feet with it. Or you can use the Scots Spine essential oil and just put one drop on your hand, and you can start rubbing your sacrum. That will also activate your root chakra, your sacrum, and it will also help with the energy. If you feel a bit tired, it will really activate the energy there. And you also have tea tree and vetiver, and that you can also use in perfume if you'd like. And all these essential oils, you can also smell them for grounding. And you can also do foot baths. That's really beneficial. So foot baths with sea salt or Epsom salt, and you can add a couple of drops of these essential oils in the foot baths, and that will be also very beneficial for grounding. And lastly but not least, of course, exercise. Physical exercise will help you with grounding because it will activate the energy inside your body, and it will really help you focus yourself on your body and on the physical activity. So there are many physical activities out there. You can really choose whatever you like. There is one physical activity that I would say is probably one of the best. It's anything to do with martial arts, because as I said, it really activates the hara, and the hara, it's this energy center that is a couple of inches below the navel. And that is really, really awesome to ground yourself and to just center yourself. It's very, very powerful. But there is also, of course, yoga. Yoga is also very beneficial. So Traditionally, Indians would do it not on a mattress like we do today, but just on a simple cloth or fabric that they would put directly on the ground or on the earth. And that's because by doing that you can really receive more directly the earth energies during the practice, so that's also very good. It's a good idea to try it. And there are also specific poses that you can use in yoga for grounding. So all the poses that where you need your balance, where you work on your balance. So for example, tree pose. There's also child pose that you can do, and all the postures that help to open up the hips and the pelvis area. So like pigeon posture or lizard posture. And anyway, if you're someone who's really feeling blocked on a hip level or pelvis level, it means that you lack grounding, so that would be really a good idea to practice that daily. So I hope you will take advantage of all these techniques to help you ground yourself, and you will see that your body will say thank you to you, because instead of denying it, you actually fully embrace it and you honor it by really focusing your attention on it and seeing it as a part of your divine self. So I also hope that by doing that you will feel and sense the connection through your body with Mother Earth, because after all she is the one supporting our body, our physical body. So in a way, when we honor our bodies, we also honor the planet, Mother Earth. Sat Nam.